right, good morning. We've officially started our Transform Westside Summit. Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm John Ahmann, President and CEO of the Westside Future Fund. I'm here with
Ebony Ford. Hey, nice to see y'all. Good morning. I'm so happy that y'all made it out here. Hey, Token, good morning. So thankful for y'all coming out on this rainy morning. I started not to come myself, to be honest. Just kidding. I honor my commitments. Anyway, my name, again, is Ebony Ford. I am a very proud resident of English Avenue here on the west side. Woo woo. My son, Jeremiah, goes to Hollis, APS all day. And I'm also the director of Corporate and Community Engagement at Quest CDC, all here on the west side, because as we know, the west side is the best side. Everything else is just the rest side, okay? Back at you, John.
Oh, no, thank you. So yeah, John, I'm President and CEO of the Westside Future Fund. I've been leading the Westside Future Fund now over 7 years, and I have been living in Vine City since 2019. And I always like to do a special check-in for anyone that's here for the first time. So if you're here for the first time, raise your hand.
Thank you.
All right, our devotion speaker. All right, thank you. Well, welcome. Hold up for a second, one more time, so make sure I see. All right, welcome, all our first-time visitors. So, overview of our program this morning. I'm going to talk for just a couple more minutes, and then we're going to have a devotion. And then after the devotion, what we're going to do, and there'll be probably more people in the room when the devotion is over, but we're going to do self-introductions to help build community. And then when those are complete, we'll move into our program today. We always have a different topic for our Transform Westside Summits related to helping transform the West Side. And this morning we have a long-time, he's actually a pastor, but been doing a lot of work on the West Side for a couple decades, Winston Taylor. We're going to especially talk about, there you are, St. Mark's and English Avenue at the key intersection in English Avenue. Talk more about that. And then we'll have some announcements, and then we'll be done by 9. And I should also add that we are live streaming right now a lot. Live streaming, I'm kind of saying something twice. But the cameras you see around, so we're up on Facebook, we're up on YouTube. So if you'd like to encourage folks to watch it, and then when this is finished, the broadcast is immediately available.
Yep. Absolutely, and don't forget, we're going to have a Home Depot and Goodwill gift card drawing as well, and I will remind you about that a little bit later, just to make sure you get your green and your red tickets. Make sure you get both. We have had people who won the Home Depot Foundation gift card and the Goodwill of North Georgia gift card at the same time, okay? So you could win both, so make sure you get both cards. Now, Ride for the West Side, September 30th. Who came out for that? Wasn't it awesome? Toten, I know you were there. I was there, John was there, whole Westside Future Fund team was there. It was awesome. It was a run, walk, bike. And our partnership this year, Westside Future Fund partnered with Quest. They brought Quest on board. It helped raise more awareness and more funds, which is always good, to support the equitable revitalization of the West Side. It was a beautiful day, great day. Weather was perfect and everything, right, Jim?
No, the weather was awesome, and what we were really excited about, for a lot of folks that haven't been over to the West Side, to build awareness of the West Side, educate about the West Side and what's happening on the West Side. But we had almost 500 people register for the event this year, which is almost triple what we did a year ago. And so we are really excited about it. We're looking forward to doing it. Again, we continue to learn. One of the things we do that's a part of the race is especially lift up the heritage of the West Side. So that's a real important part of the race as well. And we thought we'd show a quick recap video from the event. We'll go ahead and roll that.
Ride for the West Side.
Beautiful day for Ride for the West Side. We've more than doubled our attendance from last year.
Woo! West Side, baby!
But we got great momentum.
Great momentum, a lot of more work to do.
We have as a vision statement, how do you help develop a community Dr. King is proud to call home? And what I hope people take out of here is how important these neighborhoods are to our city, and to help us, restore strength to these neighborhoods.
We want to do the 11-mile bike ride. More people accessing the West Side, seeing the West Side.
Right.
I'm just hopeful somebody might say, you know what, I might buy a house on this side of town, or send my kids to school on this side of town. So I'm hoping to see the city parks, the historical neighborhoods. We've been saying, please come over to the West Side. So we had to lay the groundwork to kind of indicate to some groups and organizations to support us and join us in the revitalization on the West Side.
The West Side is the heartbeat of Atlanta. I am a resident of English Avenue. I love my community. I think that there's a lot of change and a lot of things going on in the community, a lot of positive things. The residents that are here also want to be a part of the change and a part of the community. So I think that it's a great opportunity. What's happening here today, Ride for the West Side.
What I love about it, like a day like today, is bringing people in the neighborhood and active in a way that's healthy and thriving and joyful.
West Side is the best side, but it takes all hands on deck in order for us to make it what we want it to be.
Part of what we're both about is there's more activity ensuring people that live in the neighborhood can afford to stay. So ensuring people have high quality affordable housing.
If you get involved and you make it what it should be, then we'll know that the West Side is the best side.
Hopefully this can be a signature event for this side of town.
Woo!
That was awesome. It was such a good evening.
No, thank you. I saw all our sponsors. You saw, Chick-fil-A is our lead sponsor. I should note, thank you, Dan, for being here this morning. And we also want to thank Chick-fil-A, as always, for their free breakfast this morning. So maybe we could just acknowledge that. And get connected, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, John. Thank you. Appreciate you. So if you're watching from home on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and get connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay, this information that we're giving out is very, very important, needs to be disseminated, so we need everyone's help for that, and we appreciate y'all. And again, I want to remind you, make sure you get your tickets, again, for the gift card drawing for Goodwill of North Georgia, the blue ticket, and the red ticket for Home Depot Foundation. You can win a gift card. And like I said earlier, for the people who are just coming in, we've had people win both gift cards, so make sure you get both tickets, all right?
All right, no, thank you. So we are now, transitioning to the portion of the meeting where we go into the devotion. And for those that are our first-timers, we draw inspiration for our devotion from the story of Nehemiah. So in the Bible, the story of Nehemiah, the cupbearer to the king, recognizes the suffering happening in Jerusalem and feels called by God to go back to Jerusalem. And the first part of it is rebuilding the wall so people can be safe again and relieve suffering. And then how he then governs, builds community. And so we thought that's a great metaphor for our own work in the neighborhoods in the historic West Side. But we always also read a devotional statement. Before I introduce our devotional speaker, I'm going to read the statement you can also see on the screen behind me. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community, recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the West Side revitalization effort. The time at the beginning of our meetings is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. And I'm really excited this morning that Danavall is our devotion speaker. Thank you for being here this morning. And what is especially to our Nehemiah inspiration is you're an English Avenue homeowner, and one of the most challenged neighborhoods I think in the West Side has been English Avenue. Lots of suffering in the neighborhood, and through our Home on the West Side program, Nadia lives on one of the blocks that's been activated. So I think it's great that you're willing to come this morning and share a devotion with us. She is works at the Morehouse School of Medicine, and I think, and I had a couple more things I wanted to share about you. Yeah, the digital learning program at the Morehouse School of Medicine, and her unwavering dedication to inclusive education shines through her efforts to ensure that the online courses and programs she designs deliver quality education and authentically reflect the rich cultures of the diverse student body she serves at the Morehouse School of Medicine. And so we're very grateful for you being willing to come up and do a devotion this morning. So we'll ask you to come on up, and please give her a warm welcome as she...
Good morning, neighbors and friends. I am Indai Gray Danavall, and I live on the west side. And as it was told, I live in the English Avenue community. Today we gather adjacent to our historic neighborhood, and it's a place that has its own unique challenges and strengths. As you know, the west side has weathered trials, from crime and homelessness to urban decay, much like the Jerusalem of Nehemiah's time. This morning, we're here to draw inspiration from Nehemiah's story, where unity, faith, and determination rebuilt walls. Nehemiah's words remain timeless. Don't be afraid. Remember that the Lord is great and awesome. These words remind us that greatness emerges from challenges. The story serves as a blueprint for community resilience and empowerment, encouraging us to protect our culture, our history, and our identity while uniting to share our own future amidst change. As we navigate through the West Side, let's allow Nehemiah's spirit to be our guiding light. In much the same way Nehemiah fixed his unwavering gaze upon the shattered walls of Jerusalem, we too can steadfastly confront the challenges that have tested our West Side community. Together, we have the power to rebuild and reinvigorate. I want to revisit the verse I mentioned earlier. It was taken from the Common English Bible. Let's explore how Nehemiah's leadership aligns with our own rebuilding efforts on the West Side. In Nehemiah 4:14, he passionately declares, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember that the Lord is great and awesome." He said, fight for your families, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. He rallied his people, organizing them to work together, to protect one another, and to ensure their family's safety and the security of their homes. He knew that only through unity and shared commitment could the walls be rebuilt and that their community could be restored. Today, we find ourselves at a similar crossroads. We're tasked with rebuilding not just the physical structures, but the heart and the soul of our West Side neighborhood. We too must stand together. We too must stand together and look out for one another, and also safeguard our families and our homes. I want to share a personal story. In my first week, the very first week I moved to the neighborhood, I had an unexpected and an unwelcomed introduction. A one-armed bandit came by swiping multiple plants from my porch, alongside with a plant stand. That very same night, another audacious character riding a bike sauntered onto my porch like he owned it, and he took a water bottle that I was using to water those same plants that were stolen. I couldn't help wonder, what kind of neighborhood welcome was this? Like, is this what I'm, like, what is going on? Devastated, I decided to share my ordeal with the community. I posted videos of the thefts on the Ring Neighbors app and reached out to Tamika Askew here at the West Side Future Fund. Where's Tamika? She's over there? Okay. I reached out to Tamika, right? What happened next was nothing less than astonishing. Within 24 hours, my video went viral. A kind neighbor who had shared it to Atlanta Scoops, which is like TMZ. If you don't know what Atlanta Scoops is like the Atlanta version of TMZ. Simultaneously, unbeknownst to me, Tamika had also shared my story with a local plant vendor. It turned out they had already seen my story on the Scoop. Hearing the story again inspired them to take action. Oh, sorry, y'all. They generously gifted me with a variety of new and exotic plants, Furthermore, they contacted another local business, which too contributed more plants to help rebuild my collection. Not to be outdone, my contractors even brought me an additional plant and a potted tree. In less than 24 hours, my once empty porch was transformed into a lush and thriving garden. It was an overwhelming display of community support and solidarity. My faith in the power of community was not just restored, it was strengthened. Unlike the days of Nehemiah, where people carried swords and spears and shields and bows to protect their community, we wielded a different weapon. In this modern age of the 21st century, our swords were the collective power of social media and the voice of the community that had been amplified by the word of mouth. This experience made me ponder, what kind of weapons do you have in your arsenal to fight for our community? How do you stand up for your neighbors? There is an African proverb, and it says, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. Just as Nehemiah's people banded together to rebuild their walls, we too can stand as a united force. We may not carry swords, but we have the power of collective action and compassion. Together, we can overcome any challenges and create a Westside neighborhood where we all can thrive. Take a moment and consider how your unique talents and efforts can contribute to our collective goals, just as the people of Jerusalem did under Nehemiah's guidance. My neighbors, thank you. I think I went over a little bit of time, but thank you for your focused attention during this devotional. Your presence and engagement has made this a meaningful moment of reflection. Let's carry these lessons with us of unity, perseverance, and faith as we face our Westside journey. Thank you.
These is on. There we go. Thank you, Nadai. I appreciate that. It was awesome. Can we give her another round of hand? Another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So now is the time when those first-time visitors, like how they do you in church, you have to stand up and speak. So now the time has come for that, but if it's any consolation, everybody is going to stand up and speak. So this is a time of self-introductions. This is how we network and communicate and fellowship with each other. So if you hear somebody introduce themselves and you think you want to meet them, by all means, this is the space to do that. So please go up and introduce yourself after you hear self-introductions. So without further ado, we will get into that. We do ask that you say your name, who you're affiliated with, and maybe what part of town you live in. If it's not the West Side, don't even mention it, we don't care, but just kidding, just kidding. So again, your name, your affiliation, your organizational affiliation, what part of town you live in, and then please stop at that so that we can have enough time for everyone to go, okay? And we're gonna start right here. Oh yeah, lucky number one.
Good morning, I'm Marvin Bussey with Teens at Work, East Point, Georgia.
Good morning, I'm Sheraton Jones. I'm further west, actually in Douglasville, but I'm just an interested individual here.
Good morning, my name is William Shepard. I work as an engineer under Walmart Health, and I live on the south side of Atlanta.
Good morning, I'm Dan Cathy, and I'm also on the south side of Atlanta, and a would-be, wannabe West Sider.
Good morning. I'm Laura here because I'm here because you've done such a wonderful job with forming Westside Future Fund in these meetings. Thank you. Have been practiced as an architect and planner, and I'm focused on livable districts.
Everybody, I'm Sean. I'm with the Home Depot backyard at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, English Avenue resident and neighbor.
Good morning. Caitlin Behringer, Open Hand Atlanta, and a Mechanicsville resident.
I'm Bilal Sharif, past president of the Empire Board of Realtors, board of director member of the Atlanta Realtors Association, state director for the Georgia Association of Realtors, national chair for the Real Estate Circle, the Gathering Spot, Grove Park resident coming up on 20 years in February.
Good morning. My name is Bob Dickinson, Dickinson Partners Group, and the Steam Sports Foundation, and we provide scholarships to women of color who want to get into the automotive and motorsports industry.
Morning, y'all. I'm Ashley Marikian. I work at the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, and I live in East Atlanta.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christopher Turner with Reveal Wealth, minority-owned financial advisory firm. Just want to get involved. Oh, I live in Stone Mountain.
Andre Brown, and I'm with the Atlanta Police Foundation at Promise Center West.
Good morning. Neil Shorthouse with Partners in Change, enabling personal, social, and economic upward mobility for adults.
Good morning, I'm James Tyson with the Atlanta Humane Society, and I'm a resident of Brookhaven.
Good morning, I'm Noriko Walker. I'm with Georgia Tech and associated with the Science Square development, and I live in Marietta.
Good morning, I'm John Thompson. I am a aspiring and new real estate developer located here on the Upper West Side, live here on the West Side, and Sunbelt Syndications is the name of my company.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Muriel Murphy, and I am a resident of the West Side.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dejanary King. I'm an architectural designer with Perkins & Will. I was raised in Summer Hill, and I am stationed in the Upper West Side.
Hey, good morning and happy Falcons Friday, everybody. Can we get a little applause on that one? There we go. All right. My name is Tolton Pace. I'm the Senior Program Officer for the West Side with the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation. This is week 7 for me, so I know a couple people emails and calls, but we're getting there. I'm just building up, so give me a little time. Thank you for your grace and your patience. Raised and a product of the West Side and currently live in Southwest Atlanta.
Good morning. It's hard to follow him, but I'll try. My name is Colleen Ayala. I'm an architect with Perkins & Will. I'm new to Atlanta, actually from Washington, D.C., and I've been working in the design of urban housing for over 30 years across the country, and looking forward to getting to know the community and contributing where I can.
Good morning. My name is Joel Jesu. These are my colleagues. I'm an architect and urban designer with Perkins & Will, and I love to spend time in the West Side. And I also teach across the street at Georgia Tech in the graduate program and College of Design. So glad to be here.
Hey, good morning. Michael Ruffin, Director of External Affairs for AT&T. Just moved to Atlanta about 5 months ago, and we're huge supporters of the Westside Future Fund. Happy to be here this morning.
Good morning. My name is Assad. I'm a tech consultant with Ernst & Young, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good morning, Atlanta. Man, it's a wonderful day to be in Atlanta. I was born in Grady, baby. My name is Anthony Bellows. I'm a West Side legacy resident. Thank you.
I'm Maria Saporta, and I'm a journalist in town, Saporta Report, and I also have a nonprofit called Atlanta Way 2.0, and this room exemplifies Atlanta Way 2.0. And I grew up on the Georgia Tech campus, just a couple of blocks from here, and I now live in Midtown.
Good morning. My name is Vader Wynn, not to be confused with Darth Vader. Amen. So you have Darth Vader and you got Dark Vader. Amen. And I just want to say that we have taken over the Troy Street Baptist Church. So we've been there for about a year and a half. And looking forward to doing things and helping out the community and things like that. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bishop Sammy Conyers, his overseer and bishop. We're on the southeast side, though, in DeKalb County, but I work with him also out of Troy Street Baptist Church. I just so happen to be also the newly appointed president for the National Movement for Civil and Human Rights. I'm a retired military whore, and we're here to serve and help in any way we could.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith. I'm a resident of The View, English Avenue.
Good morning, everyone. I am Thelma Renault, and I was born and raised in English Avenue. So I've been here a long time, and I'm so glad to be here this morning.
Good morning. My name is Archie Emerson. I am the current president of the Empire Board of Realtors. It is the oldest black trade organization in the United States, and we are housed here in the West End area. I'm also the broker agent that's also moving the property for the legacy for Westside Future Fund. I'm also a HUD certified counselor. I own and operate the HUD agency in the West Side as well, and I'm here to keep learning.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Bush, and I reside in the historical Booker T. Washington neighborhood. Now, you know where the Booker T. Washington statue is, so I shouldn't have to tell anyone. And Booker T. and I finished the same college, Hampton University.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Sandy Rogers, and I am affiliated with various organizations, and I'm an author, minister. And this is my first time back in a few years. I'm so happy to be here this morning.
Bob Butler, Co-Web Banker Realty.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Justine Veal. I'm a realtor at Peachtree, Keller Williams Peachtree Road. I live in Grove Park, and I'll be a future resident of Vine City.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Brown, and I am the Director of Parenting and Adoption Support Services with Families First, and we are located directly across from the Ashby train station.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Diana Palmer. I am the owner of It's Big Baby. It's a loaded baked potato concept, and I also live here on the West Side.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Jones, Atlanta Board of Education, seat 7 at large, citywide seat. I've lived in Inman Park since 1996, and I'm also an architect and urban planner.
Good morning, I'm Winston Taylor. I reside in the old 4th Ward. I'm the founder of the Beloved Community, Inc. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Waddy with Chick-fil-A and a friend of Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tom McCarron. I am Operations Manager up at Ignatius House Jesuit Retreat Center up on Riverside Drive, 20 acres on the Chattahoochee River, so come on up and see us. I'm also an active member of the Westside Volunteer Corps.
Good morning. I'm Leila Gill with the NID Housing Counseling Agency and also the Empire Board of Realtors.
Good morning. My name is Quinn Ryan with the Atlanta Humane Society here on the West Side, and I am a resident of the Upper West Side.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I'm John McGee, originally from Florida. We call this liquid sunshine. It's always sunshine in Florida. But I'm a proud resident of Grove Park and a part of VI Capital Lending.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Matthew Coleman. I'm a part of VI Capital Lending. We provide investment capital for investors. And I'm also a proud member of the Atlanta Black Chambers.
Good morning. My name is Darcy Elmore. I am brand new to Atlanta and just moved to the West End, and am a self-proclaimed social impact economic development nerd. So I found out about this event and wanted to come see all these fantastic people and what y'all do. So.
Hi, I'm Ryan Lawler. I work at Georgia Tech, actually in a building right next to the gathering spot that supports life science startup companies, and I am a resident of the Upper West Side.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bergen Burnett. I'm also with the Atlanta Humane Society. I'm just happy to be here, and I live on the East Atlanta, live in East Atlanta.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Antonio Henson. I'm with Renaissance Bank, and I reside in Norcross.
Good morning. My name is Mally Egan. I work at Westside Atlanta Charter School on Perry Boulevard. Born and raised on the West Side, but I live in Virginia Highlands now.
Good morning, family. I'm Tillman Ward.
lifelong resident of the historic West Side, president of Community Resources of Atlanta, based in historic Vine City, and I'm very glad to see so many engineers and visionaries in one room at the same time, dedicated to make a difference.
Good morning. My name is Deirdre Mitchell. I am the engagement specialist at the historical Booker T. Washington High School, and I reside in the Guilford Forest community.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marino Walker. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm a project manager at Booker T. Washington High School as well. I'm here in support of Mr. Tolton Pace and see what you wonderful people have to offer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ebony. I was born at Crawford Long Hospital, and I live in Vine City.
Good morning, my name is Miracle Jones, and I live at downtown.
Good morning, folks. I'm Charles Merriweather, Goodwill Ambassador, where we put people to work.
My name is David Yoakley Mitchell. I'm the Executive Director of the Atlanta Preservation Center, and I'm glad you're all going to be held hostage to listen to the importance and value of historic preservation under Winston Taylor. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Frank Morales. My wife and I are green, affordable housing providers here in the community. We'd love to be here. Thank you.
So before we wind up, did anyone not get introduced? Raise your hand if you did not get introduced and want to be introduced.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Demetrius Wilburn, and I am a realtor for Better Homes and Gardens Metro Brokers, and also a board member for the National Association of Realtors.
Good morning, everyone. God bless you all. I'm Reverend Dr. Leroy Wright. I'm the pastor of First Thessalonian Missionary Baptist Church, and we invite each and every one of you to our Harvest Day Festival on Sunday.
All right, thank you. Here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Warrell Thomas, residential real estate agent, also a member of the Atlanta Black Chamber. Just good to be learning about the West Side this morning.
All right, anybody? In the interest of time, we want to acknowledge all our support team here today, so thank you all. All right, we did it. Well, maybe just thank yourselves. Another round of applause. We're kind of appreciating that. So for folks that are here for the first time and folks that have been coming, I always, back to the metaphor in your devotional message about the spider webs, because that's about things coming together that make something greater. So hopefully, in the introductions, you heard someone that maybe it's like, hey, maybe I can help that person advance what they're working on, or vice versa. So that's where we really take the time for those introductions to build that community, to create that conglomeration of spider webs to trap that lion. So thank you, and appreciate y'all taking the time to do that this morning. And now for the next part of our program, I am going to ask them to come on up. But this next part of their program, as we focus in on our revitalization efforts in English Avenue, please sit down. This is Winston Taylor. Thank you for joining us this morning, Winston.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to do a little bit of a tee up, but those that aren't familiar with English Avenue, there's a key intersection in the heart of English Avenue, Cameron Alexander and James P. Brawley. And when we did the West Side Land Use Framework Plan, I remember this back in 16, 17, and thinking about, revitalizing the English Avenue. The English Avenue Neighborhood Association, at that time, I think Mother Moore was the president, said the top priority for the English Avenue neighborhood is to have this corner kind of revitalized, prioritize that corner, especially from a perspective of serving residents in English Avenue. Because there's and we'll talk more about it, but an abandoned church that Winston owns, St. Mark's. We now own it now, but an old restaurant, grocery store called the Yellow Store. But the corner activation is so critical, and we want to talk this morning because the key asset to reactivating that corner is St. Mark's that Winston's owned, and so to talk a little about today. But I first wanted to start because to me, and Winston and I have gotten to know each other very well over the last 6 or 7 years. We did not know each other before started the work. But I think in a lot of ways, the work of bringing the church online is speaks to the metaphor of the work. But to set that up, maybe tell folks, because you're an Atlanta native, tell them, kind of where you grew up, a little bit about your background.
Again, good morning. I was born in Carver Homes, and we then later moved to the slums of Old Fourth Ward, as Creative Loafing called it back in the day, the last slums of Atlanta, because back then, actually, English Avenue was an upper middle-class black neighborhood. So we moved to the Old Fourth Ward and went to APS schools and those types of things, and then went to Syracuse, graduated from Syracuse at School of Architecture, and came back and started investing in Atlanta. Invested in the Old Fourth Ward, started investing in the Old Fourth Ward back in the 80s. The Old Georgia Baptist properties, the dilapidated properties of the Old Georgia Baptist, because again, Old Fourth Ward was the what? Last slums of Atlanta. And got involved in English Avenue one day looking at the news, many years later in the 90s, looking at the news, and of course, the neighborhood had changed, of course, and started volunteering, doing Meals on Wheels over in English Avenue.
But one thing you didn't mention, you are an ordained minister. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about that.
So I am a pastor, ordained minister, master's in theology from Luther Rice School of Theology on the east side of Atlanta. Really came into that, growing up poor, seeing the hurt, my mother crying, the home we lived in had a leaking roof in it all my life until I bought the house when I graduated from college. So you can imagine what the furniture must have looked like in the living room from the leaky roof for all those years, because we moved into it when I was 5 years old. But it made me become very passionate and compassionate toward need and people's need and their hurt. And so when I got back to Atlanta to serve and help my family, you look around and it just doesn't become an isolated situation. It becomes others that are in a similar situation. And so I started buying up the dilapidated housing, and got into single mom parenting because, again, Old Fourth Ward had the only good high school in Atlanta, which was Grady at the time in the 80s. And start serving families, and then gradually God moved me into ministry.
And you, I think, were mentored by a very notable minister, right?
Yes.
You want to share the name?
I'm gonna let you share.
So interestingly enough, Reverend Cameron Alexander.
Yes.
So so you grew up in the Old Fourth Ward when it was a black slum, in your words. Those were your words, right?
Well, not just my words. It's Creative Loafing words. It's the words of City of Atlanta. It's the words of not just whites, but blacks as well, upper middle class. I mean, Fourth Ward was that. It is what it is. We like to run from these conversations, but how do you correct things if you don't embrace the real conversation? And so, I don't whitewash. Atlanta's known for whitewashing over its problem, but I don't whitewash because, again, I've learned that you can shift problems or you can fix problems, and I desire to fix problems and not shift them.
So you still live in the old Fourth Ward today, but the old Fourth Ward today is completely different than when it was when you grew up.
Very much different. Very much different. As many of us say, it's a lot beautiful place, but it's not as friendly. It's not as neighborly. I also learned that going on mission trips, and I'm a Southern Baptist pastor, and so I learned that we're not always the most friendliest people as we grow in stature. And even now, there's a huge fight in the city of Atlanta between urbanites and suburbanites, because suburbanites typically just drive right into the garage. There's really no conversation, but urbanites like interacting with one another and stuff. So, yeah.
So, drawn from Nehemiah, and when the revitalization of the old Fourth Ward occurred, was there a focus on legacy residents? Was that a part of the revitalization effort, you think?
It started out as one. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the process, but it started out with HDDC and a couple of us coming together, and it started out, but it was quickly lost because of affordability. And so then Bank of America, of course, we had partnered with those guys, and they had their own CDC, and without resources, it started to be foreclosed on, and so Bank of America CDC took over, and it became very different then. Yes.
And so I say that because I know some of what you wanted to see happen in the old Fourth Ward that didn't happen. You're hoping to be a part of ensure happening in the West Side.
Yes, they write books about gentrification in Old Fourth Ward, and books have been written about it, and the discussion still is taking place in urban places, colleges, this, that, and the other. So how do you do that differently?
Right. And and I'm going to show some slides of it in a second. So you were called, and you bought St. Mark's in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And tell folks like how that happened. Like what led you to do that?
So I don't know how many of you are really familiar with the history of English Avenue, but that corner it's always the symbol of English Avenue. I don't care what happens there. So when it was built as Western Heights Baptist Church, it was the symbol of the New South. It was this upper middle class white neighborhood, and it was Western Heights Baptist Church, and so they rebuilt the church, and so it was the symbol of the New South. Later on, when the white exited the city, then the blacks took it over, which was St. Mark. That's the same St. Mark that's actually in Cascade area now at the corner of Barge Road and 166. And so it became the height of the civil rights movement. Many of the civil rights people were there. They moved, it shifted because it used to be in Vine City. Vine City Church, it got burned down, and then they shifted in and bought the old St. Mark church building. So then when the white flight takes place, now the drugs move into the community and everything, and so it becomes the drug haven. It becomes the bluff. It becomes that place where all of the drugs was being sold in the church. It become what you see, not now, but this shell of a building, the roof it fell in, and so sex trafficking and drugs was taking place on the corner. And so as I was going through there every day, I used to watch the kids get off the bus there, and I was just like, that can't be. And so we purchased the building. That was a God piece in itself, because at the time there was already articles about Georgia Tech desiring to buy the building, and it offered the AME Church $1 million, and God wound up blessing us with the building for $55,000.
All right. Well, I know more of the story. The bishop, for the church that owned it. Mm-hmm. They had left at that point. Mm-hmm. Georgia Tech had an offer to them. How long did you camp out in front of their door?
So I wound up having to camp out in front of their door. The initial conversation went pretty easy. He let me in. How can I help you, young man? And I told him that God had sent me to buy the church, and I offered him $55,000, and he says, "Oh, that can't be." He says, "You're more intelligent than that, and I know you've read the newspapers and everything about what Tech is offering." And I begged his forgiveness. I said, if I'm wrong, sir, and if I misheard what God has said to me, please forgive me. I just begged for his forgiveness, and I said, but I'll go back and pray again, and if I got it wrong, I most certainly will do whatever God tells me to do. So went home and prayed, and I came back a couple of days later, and this time, though, he wasn't opening the door. And if you guys are familiar with it, the office is down, the conference office is down on Auburn Avenue at Big Bethel, next to the Big Bethel. And he wasn't opening the door, and I wound up having to camp out down there for a couple of days. And he opened the door and let me in and set me down. And he called his assistant in and says, I need you to make up a document for him. We're selling the building at $55,000, giving him 3 months, and she interrupted him and said, "You can't do that, Bishop." And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Bishop Ming. Probably back then, he's in the top tier of the most influential men in the world and everything with the AME and the conference and all that stuff. But he sounded like a lion when he spoke. He was very just a man of great influence and power. And he says, "Don't tell me what I can't do." And he goes on and finishes the conversation with her in terms of giving her instructions. And by this time, I'm sitting there weeping because I never got to that part of the story because he cut me off at the $55,000. And so I'm sitting there weeping, and he looks at me, he says, "What are you thinking?" And I say, "I'm thanking God." And he looks at me and smiles, and he says, "See, you're not the only one God talks to."
And that was 1997.
That was 1997, yes, sir.
And I'm going to show, for folks that haven't seen it, show some slides. This is what it looks like now, not what it was like in it's not advancing. In 1997, but there it goes. Because when you bought it in 1997, this corner was the main corner for drug activity. And so, borrowing from the lessons of Nehemiah, in the same way Nehemiah was called back to Jerusalem because of the suffering, you were called back to this corner because of the suffering.
Yes.
And then really, buying this church was inspired by God, was your way to begin to relieve suffering.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about how at this intersection you've been ministering from this church.
Well, coming up in this lifestyle, I understood this lifestyle. My brothers were 12 and 14 years older than I was, and in and out of prison for different things, drugs, pimping, different stuff. So I understood this lifestyle because my grandmother stayed on Auburn Avenue, and so often we was at my grandmother's house. And so the 60s on Auburn Avenue was another adventure, to say to say the least. And so, I'm 5 years old, and of course my brothers are 14 years old. He's 19. He's already doing all kinds of things. And so I say that to say that there was no misunderstanding what was taking place. I understood what was taking place. And many people were there because they didn't want to be there. We think that people are in gangs, they're doing drugs, they're doing this, that, and the other because they want to be there. But the truth of the matter is we just don't understand the story. We just don't understand the scenario. And if you don't mind me saying this, John, in many cases, that's what makes it very difficult for us when we're trying to help people, because we really don't understand how to help. But we may have resources and we may think we understand, but unless you've been there, you're clueless. You're clueless. And so for me, I understood their hurt. I understood the pain. I understood what was taking place there. So for me, I'm right at home. And so how do I change? What are the conversations that have to be had? And so the first thing was just to bring it to order. Even when you go to prison, there's order. Come on, somebody. See, y'all gonna make me preach. Even in prison, there's divine order. There's no such thing as trespassing in prison. So how do you come to the street then, with all this gang and all this activity was taking place, and say this is who you are? No, it's not. And most of the guys that have been there know there's no such thing as trespassing. Even if you're crazy, there's no such thing as trespassing. Because even a dog can be trained not to what? Trespass. So we shut down the trespassing. We shut down those things that were really issues. So we became very clean on the corner. We picked up the trash. We were mindful not to be there when the kids was coming out for school and the school bus was dropping off, and it became a different relationship. So the first thing was just to put it in order. And so the order allowed the chaos to be dismissed. Because if you're really out there doing what you're doing, it's supposed to be about finances. Come on, somebody. It ain't supposed to be about all the other nonsense that's taking place. If I'm out there dealing, if I'm doing sex trafficking, all of that is about what? Money. So let's get rid of all the other what? Foolishness. And so that's what we really focused on, and that's what we continue to focus on. And in that, it allowed the relationships for change and those other things, because people really do want to be what? Different.
Right. Now I remember, so you and I first actually had met here at the gathering spot. We had, I think it was 2016.
Yes, sir.
We had lunch, and it was in 2017, I think, that we did a Easter sunrise service.
Oh, so you gonna skip over how you beat me up that day when you met me?
Yes, I am. We don't want to go there. I asked Winston a lot of questions, trying to learn about this church. But
Dad, actually trying to learn about my faith.
Right.
Yeah.
But we had a good chat. But talk about, like, because you've said it very passionately to me many times. But why the activation of this church and this corner, this intersection, is so critical as the heartbeat to restore English Avenue. Talk about that.
It becomes the metaphor, the example, just like it was in Nehemiah. You know, God can do miracles. Many people, when they looked at the Nehemiah wall, they lost faith, they lost hope. They did not believe things could be different. So when Nehemiah comes in and restores the wall miraculously in 52 days, you know, people gain hope. You know, they start to see that what should be, what shouldn't be, what couldn't be, can be. And so many people wrote off St. Mark. Many people wrote off the English Avenue community. Many people wrote off the people of English Avenue. But I am a prime example that anything is what? Possible. And so we took on the project of St. Mark because anything is what? Possible. And so as we've gone through this project, many of the guys and women that were there, as they've seen the project progress and the hope around the project, then they have also found hope in their own personal lives. And so that was what was special. My mother used to teach me when she would say to me and my brothers, Rome was not built in a day, and neither will your transformation come in a day. It's a process. And so to help people through that process is what I consider discipleshiping. And so that's, for me, the pastoral position of Christ Jesus and Paul. It was about disciple making. How do you walk with people and transform what? Life, and walk through life with them. Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ, knowing that I'm only just a few steps in ahead of those that I'm what? Leading. And they can see me and how I address these issues and how I address things that are going on in my life, because it's real time. It's not something that they're talking about, that I'm talking about, but they're seeing it, and for them to be able to glean hope from that as well.
And what I, appreciate, because and I remember one time, especially, I was driving down Cameron Alexander, and you were on the corner ministering, and I tried to keep driving, but you shouted at me, so I had to stop, and got out and joined you, and you were ministering a 12-step.
Yes, sir.
And while you were ministering the meeting, literally people were walking down the street like, what's going on? Hey, can we join the meeting?
Yes, sir.
So the kind of activities you want to do there are really in service of people that are suffering, in the neighborhood.
Again, life is as you go. How do you help people as you go? Again, whether it's at your office, you walk in your office. People are hurting in your office. What you gonna do? Wait and send them to church? So come join me on Sunday. They're hurting today and it's Thursday. How do you help as you go? That's real community. How do you help as you go? And so, I grew up in a neighborhood, poor, but everybody shared. I would come home if my mother wasn't there or I was hungry or whatever, the neighbor took care of me. They brought me in. So how do you help as you go? So for me, that is the Christian model. That is the pastoral model. That is the Great Commission when he says, go ye therefore and make what? Disciples. It's as you go.
Yeah.
So for me, and don't get me wrong, guys. Don't take it personal when I say, the building is a great thing. But I see the building strictly as worship. That's not the place where I do the work at. And the work is the street where I do that every day, every minute, every second, every hour. I go in the building to worship. So.
Well, we know from Nehemiah, the first few chapters of the rebuild, most of it's about what happens when it's so when this.
And they were able to rejoice. So in Nehemiah, when the wall is built now, what do they all come to do? They come back to the what? The temple and what? Rejoice.
Well, we'll talk about what you like, how you like, because we're looking at the side of the building, but talk about how you liked by spring, like how you'd like to see that building activated. Help folks see your vision for how you'd like to see by spring how this could be activated.
So what does the activation of St. Mark really do? So what does it really do? So for me, the activation of St. Mark is a place where people now come and they hone. We were talking about that a minute ago, Bishop. Not just to worship, but how does the church serve? When you look around at healthy churches, they have child care taking place. They have mothers mourn. They have all these different activities that are taking place. The church, for me, is the greatest community center in the world. It's the place that serves. It's the place that meets needs. It's the place to do all those things. And so when you look at a community that is missing opportunity, I think this space now becomes a space that allows all different types of activities to take place. It's beautifully acoustic. So what's wrong with gathering? I love COVID. COVID really opened our eyes to getting outside of what? Into outside spaces. And so here you have a beautiful space that it is acoustically divine. Divine. When you look around, I think Atlanta and theater, performing arts, and those types of things, which is missing in many of our schools. Now, we were talking about that a minute ago, Bishop. To create that opportunity within our community. To create that gathering place where people can hang out. We really, in our most underserved communities, you don't even have a place to just gather and hang out and be neighborly. Where's that place where we just come meet at and socialize when you come outside the building? I don't know you as a neighbor. I don't know many of the neighbors in here because we have no what? We have no gathering place. We have no place where we go socialize and hang out at. And to create a healthy place for that, a safe place for that. Even in 12 steps, it requires you to have a what? Safe place to be in what? Relationship. Safe place to be in relationship. A safe place for our kids to be able to come and get a hot dog. That they don't have to address the other issues. A safe place to go be able to go get a soda. And so when we look at the corner, how do we create, going back to how I bought this corner, how do we create a safe place? And then that metaphor then now starts to what? Amplify outward. Because we're in what? Relationship. Became a totally different. So there are many in here that are Christians. If you ever did mission trip, many times you'll go in to help somebody, but guess what you have to be in before you can help somebody? Relationship. Notice who you called. You called those that you were already in what? Relationship with. Preach, Taylor. You can't help me if you're not in relationship with me. You can give me something, but you can't help me. Because I first have to value what you're giving me. Preach, Taylor. Let me stop. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, Winston knows a company wanted to announce, you see, there's this vacant land where Winston wants to have on the vacant land to help activate the church, or a couple containers, serve as a restroom, food and beverage, right?
Yes.
Am I saying that right? And then inside activate it. But thanks to the Beloved Benefit this year, they have some Beacon Award winners, and I was given permission to say this today, but thanks to Beloved Benefit, one of the Beacon is St. Mark's that Winston's activating through his not-for-profit, the Beloved Community, Inc., but there'll be $100,000 in support of Beloved Community, Inc. And it'll allow for the containers, but your goal is to have this, up by spring. You could be hosting this meeting, at the
Yes,
church.
as soon as possible. If you ride around English Avenue, you see a lot of food trucks that dope guys and sex trafficking girls have bought. But you notice they're just sitting there because they don't have a place that they can go and park their food trucks and sell legally. So for them to be able to come here, and that's what we're creating. So as John says, it's like let's start here, Winston. We got to prepare the place for the containers, but in the meanwhile, we can bring food trucks in. And so for these young guys now, so we'll look at the food truck, and we still know that they're doing unhealthy, illegal things because the food truck is sitting there. If you go down on North Avenue, there's an orange one, there's a red one, they're just sitting there. But that's because he hasn't been given the other pieces of the resource to become fully legit. Let's make some people fully legit. Let's put some people in real business. Let's remove some of the issues out of our community. And through that, then Urban League and Westside Future Fund and all these other organizations that are boasting workforce development now can actually help these young men and women by giving them free labor to actually work where? In their food trucks. The kids that in Washington High School, Washington High has a culinary program, to be able to now go over to the food truck park and serve here and get paid and meet that probation need. Meet all those financial needs that they're not being forced but participating, because we want to make the scenario sound like they're being forced to be sex trafficking, forced to be in gang. No, that's what they're fed. That's what they're closed at. The pimp is called a provider. Let us now become the new providers that changes their lives and transform their lives.
Thank you. Well, we're maybe have time for like one question. We don't have time. We're getting. Well, sorry about that. But
So we partnered now with SCAD Serve, and SCAD Serve was there a couple of weeks ago. They brought the team up from Savannah and everything like that. And so SCAD serves all the departments of the whole school. And of course, you know that they're the leaders in historic preservation. And so we got a progress report from them yesterday. And so we'll be presenting that to the community. The community has been part of this whole process. We send out the emails so that they're able to attend. So many of the community was there when SCAD Serve came up. And so we will actually be looking to activate it within the year.
Yeah, Maria Saporta.
I've known you for quite a while, Winston, but it was only earlier this year that I learned an important piece of your life, and that was who your mother worked for, and how that affected who you are today.
Yes. So my mother was Lester Maddox's maid. And so the Lester Maddox that many of us speak about is not the same Lester Maddox I knew as a kid. Impacted my thinking and how and then when he got sick and we left there, then we went to the Chatburns of Atlanta, which then completely transformed my thinking all over again. And so, you know, I've always been around these conversations because if you understand these two families, they were leaders of Atlanta, and the conversations that were being had in the homes were about building what? This city. That was their heart's desire. That was their intent. And so for me, that is my heart. How do we build this great city? How do we create the beloved community?
Absolutely. We have a video. Can we go ahead and roll that one right now?
Yeah, we wanted to show, to help, for those that aren't familiar with St. Mark's, we did a Parties with the Past with the Atlanta History Center, and we have, like a 3 or 4 minute video that we want to show. So for those that haven't seen it, what it's going to be like activated. So we're very excited to be activating it. And I know after we showed that video, we're going to transition and show a couple videos from the Beloved Benefit, in which we appreciate the Beloved Benefit supporting the activation of St. Mark's. But y'all can see so Winston has become a very good friend of mine through the work, and I think we can say this, Winston's friendship and I has been challenging at times. And even though Winston and I grew up in Druid Hills, Canada Park, Old Fourth Ward, we were right next to each other, but I grew up in White Atlanta. And part of the work with Winston, for me, I can speak for me, is understanding what that divide really is, and some of the assumptions that I carry into the relationship and the ways it has been kind of a learning about my own kind of implicit assumptions and the way I think. But I do want to say, you can see how passionate Winston is and how he has been serving on that corner now for almost 20 years, I guess, right? Over 20 years. And a great mentor and a friend to me. But let's give it up for Winston and thank him. Yeah, and go ahead and show the Party with the Past. So tonight we're celebrating historic St. Mark's, a great historic church here in English Avenue. And we've partnered with the Atlanta History Center as a program called Party with the Past, where they got the different venues in the city to lift up the history, going to the place.
This is one of the few communities where a church was built at the center of the community. St. Mark is an awesome building. It just doesn't have doors, windows, and floors, but it still acts as a building. Tonight was a great example that the space still acts as a building. It's absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful architecture.
When you go inside, it's such a special building with its granite walls, its open ceiling. The owner of it, Winston Taylor, wants to activate it as a community facility to support, concerts, festivals, other kind of events on behalf of the community, because there's nothing like this, in terms of kind of a cultural center, in the community. And his vision is to kind of, raise resources, like to put a stage into the building, do other things to support event activation.
It's going to bring culture from all over the place. It's going to bring diversity, and it's going to create a new atmosphere for the English Avenue and Vine City community. that people are going to feel comfortable joining and being a part of and participating in all these wonderful plans and activities that are getting ready to take place.
This building is an incredible structure. I mean, the stonework, it's nothing like it in all of Atlanta and all of Georgia. The space is an acoustically divine space. Everything from jazz to theater to weddings. Again, just community space, a space that people get to come together.
There's a lot of wealth here. And how do we preserve that wealth, and how do we restore some of that wealth, and how do we keep the wealth moving forward?
I would invite people to participate in helping us build a community.
People meeting and people gathering. That's where real change comes. I mean, as long as people are working in silos, it's not too much change is going to happen. But when people come together, that's when they're able to do great things. When people gather, great things happen. And so I think that that's what everybody walked away with today, was saying, let's do some great things together.
And we were going to show a couple a recap video from the Beloved Benefit brought to us by the Same House. And I don't know if did you want to say anything before we showed the recap? Okay, great. So we're going to show a recap video from the Beloved Benefit, and then we're going to show a short. And actually tonight, the Beloved Benefit that occurred a few months ago will be televised, and we're going to show a teaser for that. So we're going to show two videos, and thank you, and thanks again for the Beloved Benefit's support of St. Mark's.
Welcome to Beloved Benefit 2023.
Nights like this exemplify what Atlanta does best. We come together.
I have been sitting tonight with young people who dream big.
What is wrong with you? You have the ability to become the one thing that you have not seen or would like to be in this world.
I want you to look at the diversity of our house. I want you to look at the strength of our house. If we can treat each other as if we live in the same house, this house will last.
This Friday at 7 p.m., don't miss a star-studded television event unlike any other, presented by the Same House. Hosted by Atlanta television legend Monica Kaufman Pearson, featuring Maria Taylor, Mayor Andre Dickens, hometown hero Chris Tucker, TNT Sports host Ernie Johnson Jr., and a jaw-dropping finale performance from the one and only John Legend. This Friday, join us as the Same House presents the Beloved Benefit 2023. Don't miss it.
All right. Well, thank you. And that's it was. If you didn't participate, it was awesome. So you can see it tonight on Peachtree TV at 7 o'clock. But now we know we want to give away two things.
Yes,
Are you ready
sure.
to do two?
Absolutely,
Yep.
yes.
All right.
Okay, we're going to get you guys out of here. Appreciate your time and your patience. Okay, it is time for the big giveaway. I'm going to do the blue ticket first. That is for Goodwill of North Georgia. As we know, their motto is they put people to work. They have a new store on Metropolitan Parkway. Go check it out. The winning blue ticket number is 130733. 130733. Blue ticket 130733. Oh, congratulations. Who is it? Oh, he's coming up. Hey, come on up. Get your big prize. Yes, yes. Gonna get a picture right here, okay? Come on, with me. Oh, come on up. That's fine. Come on, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here you go. Congratulations. All right. Thank you for coming. Okay. Home Depot Foundation. As we know, they have invested millions into the revitalization of the West Side. They're giving a gift card away today as well. Red ticket winning number is 3991122. 3991122. Oh, come on up. Right. Had to make sure, huh? Come on up. And again, a picture right here, okay? There you go. Congratulations.
Oh,
Thank you for coming. You take care, okay? All right, you guys. Like I said, I'm going to get you out of here, but I appreciate y'all coming out here in the rain. I'm not sure I think the rain has stopped, so maybe we made it stop by coming together. Anyway, get engaged with us. We're on all the classic platforms, as I like to call them, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. More importantly, come back November 17th, okay? We'll be here. And unless John has something else.
That's it. Thanks very much. Have a great
All right.
weekend.
See you guys
Thanks for
next
being here.
time.